I live by these three things for your live show, for your content creation, for your YouTube channel. If you're not doing these three things, then you might as well get out of the game.
Hello and welcome to Zazoome. I'm Sheri Barbera, and today I am so thrilled to have Kirk Nugent. Thank you for that. What are your three best ways to make better videos?
I live by these three things, and the first of them is you've got to answer a question. That is the foundational piece. That's what people are searching for. That's why you have to do the search engine optimization, which you still need to do for your live stream too. People are looking for an answer to a question. That's always number one. And if you can answer a question, people can walk away from your live or your video, even if it's a small one, with a question answered, they will come back, because a question answered is an experience. So question answered, that's number one. Number two, you have got to be consistent. And that's, there's two sides of that coin. One of them is, if you say you're going to show up at Tuesday at noon, you better show up at Tuesday at noon, right? Like, that's a verbal contract you've made with your audience. If you don't do it, then they're like, well, you let me down that time. Well, why should I show up ever again? And as they say, trust is earned in drops, but lost in buckets. Right? So you have to make good on that contract. You've got to be consistent. But the other side of the consistency coin is, if I say that my channel is about live video and live video strategy and live video techniques, tips, tricks, tools, practices, and then tomorrow I show up and I'm talking about underwater basket weaving, that's not consistency.
Right.
So you've got to be consistent. So consistently answer a question. Third one, I'm trying to move quickly, is, you've got to be vulnerable. This is the struggle for a lot of us. And this is actually the freedom piece. And this is coming full circle to your question. What is that thing that's like, oh man, I didn't know this was going to be live streaming. A lot of people say to me, like, I don't know if I can get it perfect every time. You don't need to, because it's the imperfection that people resonate with. When the camera falls over and you're able to overcome that, stand it back up and laugh at yourself, and we all have a laugh together and we continue to go live. And then like 2 episodes later, you say, hey, whoever was here for the episode where my camera fell over, put something in the chat, right? If you can take that moment and make it into a group thing, you've won. And that is the beauty of live streaming, is because it's happening live together. And somebody's gonna say, man, my camera fell over too. Somebody's gonna say, man, if it happened to Sheri and if it happened to Kirk, then if it happens to me, it's okay.
Right.
Because my mic fell off and I don't know what happened to the cable, and I just had to yell for the rest of the live stream. These are things that you can't, if you think you can, I'm not saying don't prepare. I'm not saying you don't measure twice and cut once. I'm simply saying you've got to have flexibility. You got to have room in your live to not only roll with the punches, but to be vulnerable. Now that's the first side of the vulnerability coin. I'll share the second side very briefly. And that is really just to be vulnerable in your sharing. People don't resonate with everything being polished. And I'm not talking about your live stream now. I'm saying whatever it is your topic is. If your topic is speaking to single mothers about being a better single mother, okay, then you need to tell them some of your fails to have authenticity and to have authority to tell folks how to overcome. So a lot of the things that I do when I'm coaching folks is like, if you're trying to figure out what it is you want to talk about, tell me your greatest point of weakness and how you overcame it. Guaranteed, that's where people will resonate.
That is an excellent point. I think that is something that comes with age and wisdom of knowing that failures are so valuable. I think as a young person, you're embarrassed by your failures. You are afraid of people to know that you aren't perfect. It does take a while to understand that imperfection is what is important. To not be perfect, nothing's perfect. Life is not perfect, right? If it's perfect in this moment, in the next moment, it's not. So, there is no such thing as perfection, but people do strive for that. And I love that you said it's the imperfection. And that's the thing that makes you real. And that's the part of live.
Oh man.
That is so exciting. Because everything's happened to us live that you could, everything. Right? Doesn't every icky, awful thing happen?
Everything. And as a remote producer who produces shows for others, I have seen it all. Trust me, like the naked kid running in behind the person who's, I've seen it all. But and what I find interesting, and just to your point, is if you look at those viral videos, it's generally something that was unplanned. It's something that happened. Oh, come on. Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite funny things that ever happened during the pandemic. It's like life is so bizarre during the pandemic and everything is so icky and sad. And then the poor cat guy, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for you, but thank you.
Thank you for sharing this. We needed it.
That laugh, right? I needed it so hard.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you said that, because when you were talking about, the naked kid that runs past, but do you remember the newscaster? I'm sure you do.
Yes.
Right? The newscaster who was in this ultra important newscast.
Yep.
His darling, beautiful little girl
gorgeous.
Came into, right. He handled that so wrong. And it made me so angry as a person, like as a human being. Yeah. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, here's my beautiful little daughter, he was like, get her out of here. like get that kid out of here. And his poor wife had to like crawl into the room.
Crawl in.
Yes. Totally. And I just feel like live stream is about real.
That's it.
And it's how you handle real life. And live streaming, I guess, is not for everybody for sure, but that is one of the things that I love the way that you speak about, because if you don't realize that life is imperfect and that's what's great about it, and
missed it.
The way you embrace it is the way that people will embrace you.
Oh, that's so good.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're not loving and genuine and joyful of spirit, and instead you're like freaked out and angry, and that's not good. And if you, that's it. I mean, learning to laugh at yourself, the biggest asset you could ever have as you're live streaming. Biggest asset you could ever have is just being able to turn that thing into a joke quickly and capitalize on it, because Lord knows the rest of the world will. These are the kinds of things about live streaming that nobody thinks about. So this makes you extra, extra awesome. Not that I didn't know that you were super awesome to begin, but you're like, oh my God, you're so. Okay.
Oh, man.
Wow. Okay. I love it. That was excellent. Such wonderful tips. Great advice. So much information and value. Thank you so much, Kirk Nugent. So
thank you. This has been amazing.
Oh, this was wonderful. So how can people get a hold of you? What would you want people to do? What do you want them to know? How can they work with you?
So there's a lot of people who are like your audience, who are businesses, and they're like, this is all well and good. And it's intriguing, but I don't want to learn the tech, and that's fine. There are companies like mine that do remote production. All you got to do is show up prepared to have a dope conversation, to show up prepared to interview your guests, and we will take care of the graphics and the design and everything like that. And we have those kinds of packages. So remote production is definitely something that you want to look into. And whether you come to us, just go to kirkrnugent.com, and remote production is on the site. If you just go to the store, you can go to remote production as one of the links that are there. You go to kirkrnugent.com and sign up for the mailing list.
Just two more things. The name of your YouTube show and when it is.
So it's Convos and Collabs, Conversations and Collaborations, but it's the short version of both, Convos and Collabs, and it is on Mondays, 7 p.m. Central Time. The slogan of the channel is How It All Works. If you go to youtube.com/KirkRNugent, you'll see how it all works there. And
awesome. Okay. And finally, you sound like an amazing and awesome coach. And how can people get a hold of you and find out more about your coaching and what you offer?
Absolutely. That's there on the website as well.
Well, Kirk, this was a blessing. I don't know what else to call it. I mean, just having you here and listening to you and learning from you, and the immense amount of value and expertise and interesting, funny stuff that you brought to us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a guest. So thrilled to have Kirk Nugent speaking with us about how live streaming can not only grow your channel, but grow your business. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in either one of those videos.